Means we're live. Some Casual Takes, episode 87, hosted by your boy, Stephen Pepper, here to casually talk sports. Back with Some Casual Takes podcast. I kind of miss doing it. We've been doing a casual take a little bit. But we got a little longer episode, so we're making it a podcast. This episode is brought to you by no one. We got some head coaches to talk about. Didn't think I was going to do a show today, but when they're firing off head coaches like this, some legendary ones, we got to talk about it. So we'll start with this. Last night, the greatest college football coach of all time retired. To put in perspective how legendary Nick Saban was as a collegiate head coach, here are some of his accomplishments. In 28 seasons as a collegiate head coach, two-time AP Coach of the Year, five-time SEC Coach of the Year, won 292 games on an 80% win percentage, 11 SEC championships, 19 bowl wins, 49 players got drafted, 7 national titles, and 1 MAC championship. Shout out to the MAC. Go Red Hawks. All I've known since watching college football was Saban and Alabama at the top. Started watching college football about the same time Saban and Alabama won their second national title. And last season, just like last week, they're in the semifinals of college football playoff. Number 4 seed just won the SEC title game. So literally the entire time I've been watching college football, it's been Saban and Bam at the top. That's all I've known. So when I got the notification last night, I was out door dashing, sitting in the parking lot, waiting to accept an order. And if you ask me, am I surprised? Yeah, I'm surprised. I think Saban is still an excellent coach and has some years left, although he's 72 years old. But do I understand why Saban retired? Of course, I understand why. Listen, with the transfer portal, NIL, college football has changed. It's not the same dynamic and landscape it was 10 years ago. It's a young man's game now. Saban wants nothing to do with it. It's 24/7, 365, constant recruiting, very stressful, high intensity, no days off. It's not for old people like Saban. Same thing's happening in college basketball. Your favorite legendary head coaches, your Roy Williams, your Jim Boeheim's, your Coach K's, they're all leaving. Why would they want to do with this? Saban even credited as one of the reasons why he stepped down. It's for the young guys. And you already know how great Saban is. So I'm not going to spend this entire show telling you, listing off Saban stories and accomplishments, because you already know. You've been watching for the last 17 years at Alabama. But the real question today is, who will be the head coach of the University of Alabama going forward? And a cast of young potential head coaches were thrown out immediately after the news. Like your Kalen DeBoers, your Dan Lannings, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian. If I'm an established head coach at an elite rising program, I wouldn't rush to take Bama's calls. I wouldn't. If I'm an established head coach at an elite rising program, I wouldn't rush to take Bama's call. Sure, this job has a lot of pros that are very convincing. You become the coach. You are instantly, if you become the head coach of Alabama, you're one of the top head coaches in the sport for its most dominant program. But I hate to break the news to you, bro. This isn't like coaching Ole Miss. This isn't like coaching Oregon. This is Alabama. As soon as you sign that contract, everything that you do in your tenure, from recruits, wins and losses, trophy cases, will be compared to Saban. It's just like the Patriots job, where everything that you will do will be compared to Belichick. Now, the Patriots job's a little different because they haven't been Super Bowl relevant in the last 5 years, and most people can attribute half of that dynasty to Tom Brady. Whereas for Alabama, Nick Saban was Alabama. Alabama was Nick Saban. He was it. This is a fan base that in the last 17 years didn't go longer than 3 years without a national championship, celebrated 9 SEC titles, and won the last one. I dare you to go 2 years without a conference title appearance or lose 4 games. Because if you do, I recommend getting your butt out of Tuscaloosa before it gets ugly. Go ask Ryan Day at Ohio State how much gray hair he's accumulated since succeeding Urban Meyer. This is going to be a tough job. It's a pressure cooker in Alabama. Nick Saban, legendary head coach, 6 national titles. It's part of the tide. That shadow is going to cast upon your entire tenure and every single thing that you do, wins and losses, championships, rivalry games. Still one of the hardest words to ever say. It will be compared to Saban. I'm being serious. And if you're now, Dan Lanning said he's already staying at Oregon. Of course he was. Oregon is bringing in a great recruiting class. Their college football team. Why would he leave? Phil Knight money. Sarkisian. I don't think he should leave. Why would he take this job? Texas is better than Alabama today. They just are. And Quinn Ewers is coming back. Now, there's some interesting guys now. DeBoer and FSU's head coach. We're going to have to wait on them as far as Lane Kiffin. We're going to wait on those guys. But I would hesitate. With all Nick Saban's done at Alabama, shout out to Nick Saban, I wouldn't want to be his successor because that is a lot of pressure. There's pros. You will become, if not the highest paid head coach in the sport. You are the face of the most dominant program. This will be the height of your career. Your biggest accomplishment of your career is to be the next head coach of Alabama. But if you don't win games, that mob, the Tide, this isn't like coaching at Ole Miss. This isn't like coaching at Florida State. You don't win the ACC title game at Florida State. The only person that's going to be mad is a 70-year-old donor and a frat dude who couldn't throw an ACC title game party. You don't win at Alabama. The entire country, just like Ohio State to Ryan Day, the entire country is going to be on your ass. You better be ready. And these coaches, DeBoer, Kiffin, better be ready. Whoever takes this job, there's a lot of pressure to exceed the great Nick Saban. We got another coach to talk about because less than 24 hours of the Saban news, as soon as I wake up on this great Thursday morning, well, it's now the afternoon, but that's when I received the news, Bill Belichick part ways with the New England Patriots. Well, just like Nick Saban, ever since I've been watching the NFL, around the same time as I started watching college football, of course, all I've known was Belichick and the Patriots at the top. Just like college football, Saban and Bam at the top, all I've known was Belichick and the Patriots at the top. But unlike Saban, I'm not surprised. I think most of us knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. It was just a matter of when. Because I remember coming on this podcast and saying, before most people, that the Patriots should just cut ways with Belichick. And it has nothing to do with his coaching. Because is he as sharp of a coach as he was in 2007? No. But I still think he's one of the best defensive minds in the sport. It was just time, like I said months ago, just to move on for the remains of the dynasty. The Patriots need to go. The dynasty's over. New era. It's time. And Bill couldn't move on. He had these bizarre coaching staff hirings, former Patriot guys trying to keep the dynasty in its old ways going, and just bad drafting to keep the dynasty alive. I mean, the drafting. The drafting was really poor and really what lost him the job. Because if he was a better drafter, I think he would probably get a couple more years. But this draft completely crumbled anything the Patriots had left without Tom Brady. Because, I mean, he hasn't drafted since 2013 a non-reserve Pro Bowler. I'm telling you right now, if any other GM would have done that, they would have been fired in short order. But it's Bill Belichick. Let me ask you something. Guess how many players from that 2019 Patriots draft class is still on the team? Give you a second. 0. Then when you come to the whiffing on Mac Jones and the bad free agency signings like the 2021 class when you overpay for 2 tight ends, it was just time to move on. He couldn't take all this power. I think Belichick still wants to keep coaching and is one of the best defensive minds in the sport. And as long as he's not the GM, all teams with that head coach should give him a call. And if this particular team doesn't land Jim Harbaugh, the Los Angeles Chargers should be his biggest suitor. Listen, I think it's a good fit for both parties. For the Chargers, they have consistently had one of the worst defenses in the league since drafting Justin Herbert. Belichick can fix that. Because while the Patriots have been embarrassing post-Tom Brady, they've always had still a good defense. But I'd argue that their biggest problem, the Chargers, is culture. They have a losing one. In my lifetime, they've always had great rosters that just seem to always underachieve, lose the big games that they should win. And if there's any coach in my lifetime who I'd want to flip my franchise into a winning one, it would be Bill. I mean, the Patriot way, do your job, getting high characters to buy in. I mean, do I have to explain 8 freaking Super Bowls? And for Bill, as much as you guys know, I don't like Bill. I don't like defensive head coaches because they have no idea about offense in an offensive league. But I always say defensive head coaches can work as long as the quarterback's right. They can win a lot of games. And when you look at the coaching carousel, there is no opening gig with a quarterback that comes close to Justin Herbert, a guy who's proven to lead top 10 offenses and make the playoffs with even bad defensive head coaches. This is the fit. Bill Belichick should be a Charger. I'd call him. Now, of course, I'm going for Jim Harbaugh first. I'm calling up Harbaugh, saying, hey, you want to leave Michigan, go to the NFL? You still want to win a Super Bowl? I'd call him first. But if I don't get him, looking at the list of coaches, I don't think there's that many I'd want. If I'm the Chargers, I want a proven head coach. I'd probably want Tomlin. Tomlin would be a guy, but we got to see, of course, after the Steelers season ends, they're in the playoffs. I'd probably rather have Tomlin just because he's a bit younger. But they need an established head coach. You can't do a Staley situation, Anthony Lynn situation all over again. You need a real head coach who can fix your 2 biggest problems. It's not offense. It's not weapons. It's definitely not quarterback. It's defense and culture. Bill Belichick is the best defense and culture guy in this league. Tomlin would be a close second. And for Bill Belichick, listen, sunny California, it's going to be 70 degrees in the winter. You're 71 years old. It's going to be good for you that you're aging. And this is a place where you want to still coach defense because I know you have no idea how to coach an offense. You don't have to worry a single thing about offense when you have a Herbert who, despite bad defensive head coaches, constant coordinator changes, makes playoffs, wins above 500, win healthy, and leads top 10 offenses. And the last time Bill Belichick had a quarterback at least close to that level was Tom Brady. Won 6 Super Bowls. Didn't know. He asked the former players, knew nothing about offense. Knew nothing. Just focused on the defense. Quarterback, elite, figures it out for me. We win a lot of games, win Super Bowls. And if he wants to pass Don Shula's all-time win record, which I think is probably the biggest motivator to why he's still coaching and just hasn't retired at the age of 71, the best opportunity for you to do that is the Chargers. And I think this is the matchmaking, if they don't get Harbaugh, of course. But I appreciate everyone for tapping in to Some Casual Takes episode. What episode are we on? I almost forgot. 87. Thank you guys for tapping in. Follow social media. Stay updated on all things related to the show. Some Casual Takes is the handle. And until next time I go live, see ya.